Secondly, reclamation projects will slow down the flow of water.
Thank you. Madam Chair, ano po yung naging resulta ng environmental impact assessment nitong reclamation project sa Manila Bay? Because I remember din po, last year in the same hearing, dito po headed by Chairman Revilla, few weeks or a month later, the President suspended. After that hearing, suspended all. And then 3 weeks later or 3 months later, if I'm not mistaken, may na-approve na 2 out of the 22. If I'm correct, no? Ngayon po, ano yung status po nito? And perhaps, I think the President made mention that pending the study and the recommendation of DENR, dun po, yun po yung susundan ng ating Pangulo, yun po yung sabi niya. Ano na po yung status po nito?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Mr. Senator. So there are 2 ongoing activities of the DNR regarding the reclamations in the Manila Bay and the 4A region. These include, firstly, our cumulative impact assessment that is currently still under ongoing. There has
Ongoing po yun, no?
Ongoing.
Do we have a timeline lang, ma'am?
Yes,
As to
we
when?
believe by September we will be able to complete
This
even
year.
the visualization.
Thank you.
Including the visualization, the 3D visualization. There has been some interim results which are still part of ongoing runs. And in general po, we can give you a few statements regarding the interim results.
Can I jump into that interim result? Kahit hindi
Before
po-
we proceed, I would just like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Tulfo.
Thank
May
you.
proceed, Senator.
Mr. Chairman, yun lang po, no, mag-jump ako dun sa interim kasi biglang parang natuwa kami sa on our end. Kung nakita po na talaga bang may epekto ito because, Madam Secretary, last year I made mention this in the same hearing last year. Hindi pa ho nangyayari yan, yung 22 reclamation na yan. Yung Amari pa, panahon pa ho nung Amari. Talagang naramdaman namin yung effect sa Bulacan after nung reclamation. And wala naman ho kaming expertise to say na merong empirical data that says, yun nga, tinatamaan. Ngayon ho ba, may nakikita na po tayo na meron po talagang epekto itong mga proyekto nito sa lugar na malalapit dito po sa Metro Manila?
So right now, in terms of the interim results, I should perhaps qualify, Mr. Senator, no? We are running 4 scenarios. The 4 scenarios include, first, no reclamation. Second scenario is the ongoing that was, in fact, found to have been compliant in terms of their documentation. The third scenario is those that have actually been given both their ECC and AC area clearance.
That's only 2 right now. Yung third scenario, 2 lang po yun, di ba?
No, sir. The 2 ongoing, okay, and there are, inclusive of these 2, 15 that have been given in the previous administration, both in ECC and AC. And all in all, 22 are the number of all of these. Opo. And so those
Scenario, ma'am, would be
22.
the 20.
So the entire list that have been approved in the previous.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Perhaps yun po, we will wait for it. But perhaps we would like to also find out yung status ng cumulative impact assessment of reclamation activities along Manila Bay following President Marcos' suspension order
Yes.
in 2023. Hingi na lang po kami nung kopya nun. But if
Yes.
you want to summarize or...
So maybe just to summarize, Mr. Chair, Mr. Senator, the findings are that any physical change in the configuration of the embayment that is included in this area will change also the way the water and the pollutants as well as the other elements that are chemically present and biologically present in the bay. It will change the way these behave. In general po, reclamation projects will slow down the flow of water and will change the circulation and retention of pollutants and organic materials that are already in the bay. This does not include yet what will be coming from the inland. So what we are doing now is combining what is coming from the inland under different, bodies of water, and what is coming from the ocean itself, from the bay itself. So these models are being run to include also now extreme events such as what has happened and what will happen now to drainage, as well as circulation of these chemical and biological matters in the bay. So in general, any change geometrically, physically, in terms of infrastructure that is introduced will change the way the bay behaves. Secondly, reclamation projects will slow down the flow of water, and the change actually so far in our model runs has been for the negative. And thirdly, our water quality will also begin to change, which brings me to the question on mandamus and the implementation. Yes, sir. So the idea of the cumulative impact assessment was undertaken by the DENR because, in fact, we are the lead implementing agency of the mandamus. And if we are to fulfill that mandate under the decision of the Supreme Court, we will need to substantiate scientifically what would allow us to achieve what is the purpose of that ruling. With the model runs that we are actually undertaking, there will be an ecological cost and an economic cost to introducing anything into Manila Bay in relation to the implementation of the mandamus ruling. The question that we now have in terms of the different scenarios that will be possible is who will pay for that additional burden in terms of the achievement of the mandamus order. And so in terms of the work of the DENR, we are doing this along 3 tracks.
Thank you. Secretary, thank you. Let me cut you there. One last question. I've taken much of the time, but this is very important. I appreciate what you just shared with us in this committee. Kami mga senators nagtatanguan, then nagtitinginan na these are very important information, and the way I look at it is that you don't break the natural. Secretary, last question ko po ito about the mandamus, no. Mula po yung 2019 hanggang 2024, naglagay po o naglaan ang gobyerno, if you look at from 2019 to 2024, yung latest is last year 1.55 billion, 2024 1.33 billion. Dito po sa alinsunod po doon sa desisyon ng Korte Suprema na nag-aatas sa 13 government agencies na linisin po itong Manila Bay. DENR, DILG, DepEd, DOH, DA, DPWH, DBM, Coast Guard, PNP Maritime Group, Philippine Ports Authority, MMDA, MWSS, LUA. And I think, Mr. Chairman, pwede sigurong sulatan natin sila at kasi kasama din po dyan sa desisyon na yan ay magbigay ng report every quarter. Hindi ko po alam kung ano yung latest, baka pwedeng bigyan din po tayo dito sa committee.
We'll do that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, this decision required the Department of Environment and Natural Resources to develop a Manila Bay coastal management strategy to maintain Manila Bay. In fact, yung babanggitin ko ulit kanina, at a swimming and bathing level by addressing the point and non-point sources of pollution through number 1, liquid waste management, number 2, solid waste management, number 3, informal settler families, and number 4, illegal structures management, and number 5 pala, may habitat pa and resource management through effective institutional arrangement, partnership, governance. So ito po, no, pag tinignan po natin from 2019 to 2024, 7.47 billion ito, Mr. Chairman. So gusto nating malaman, ano na ba yung accomplishment, no? Kanina binanggit ni Senator Amy, parang pag tinignan natin yung accomplishment dito, dolomite lang yung naiisip natin na concrete at magre-remind sa atin, ito yung nagawa, yung dolomite dito sa Manila Bay. But, you know, for the past years, 2019 to 2024, that's 7.47 billion. And perhaps, if you could give us, Madam Secretary, ano ba yung major accomplishment na ng Manila Bay rehabilitation plan na ito?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Senator. Just in a nutshell po, and we will give you the full reports po of all these years because there are reports as we are required also to submit to the Supreme Court. So every day on a daily basis, Mr. Chair, Mr. Senator, we actually have real-time readings on the biological aspects and chemical aspects of the bay that is present at the DNR in real time. I would say that the major accomplishment here would be the introduction of the sewage treatment plants over time that were part of the original plan po prior to this administration. Our work really is to download these funds to the different agencies that are going to be implementing the particular solid and liquid waste programs, and that would be to the MMDA and to the DPWH, Mr. Chair. So in that light po, we will submit the historical complete report to your office po.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you, Secretary. Thank you lang ako, Mr. Chairman, and I look forward to looking into this because pag sinasabi na preserve, rehabilitate, and make it fit for swimming, para talagang ngayon pag sinasabi ko, ang daming ngumingiti, tumatawa sa buong paligid natin dahil parang mas madali pang i-turn ang water into wine than to make it happen, no? So maraming salamat, Mr. Chairman. Thank you sa mga
Thank you,
secretaries
Senator
po.
Joel.
Thank you.